Hello, hello, folks. Hello, hello. Welcome along to the coverage. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world. Big thank you to everyone that is tuning in nice and early to the FP1 stream here in Australia. We are 30 minutes out from the start of FP1 and we will have 22 cars hitting the racetrack today, the Albert Park Street Circuit. What a great track to start out the season at. And yeah, this is going to be incredible. Cannot wait. We've been waiting almost 100 days for this day, and it's finally here. We've finally got the cars out on the racetrack. Yeah. So we will be live. Um, Hope you're all doing well, and yeah, depending on wherever you are around the world, it seems like it's quite the early one for most folks, or quite the late one depending on what time it is. But yes, right now it's 1 a.m. here in the UK, so I'm not going to be talking too loudly because I don't want to wake up the people that I am living with. Um, but yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and we're back for Formula One, folks. We are back with Formula One. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so many things to talk about. We've got the issues down at Aston Martin. Williams need to lose some weight on their car. George Russell looks exceedingly happy. Williams, will Ferrari bring their sort of rotating rear wing? Will anyone else copy them and bring a rotating rear wing as well? How are Audi going to do? How are Cadillac going to do? It is, yeah, it is going to be very, very exciting to see what happens today. F1 Gamer, lovely to see you again. Well, lovely to see you guys again. Yeah, it's good to be back. We've already got 570 people already tuned in. Very much is appreciated. Thanks everyone for tuning in, folks. Um, and if there are any of you watching over on Twitch, it looks like we've got one person watching. I'm streaming on Twitch as well. My Twitch profile is F1 Gamer, so I'm sure it's twitch.tv/F1 Gamer, and I should come up. Um, and yeah, I'll be live on Twitch as well. As long as my internet holds up, I'll be on both. And yeah. All right. So let's sort of get started with the Aston Martin, shall we? This is the sort of the big news here. They have got significant problems with the vibrations of their car, and it's quite an interesting one, really, because of course the teams test all of these sort of things on the dyno. They put the engine through its paces on the dyno. They connect the battery pack, and they do all of these sort of tests. And none of these tests came up in the dyno runs, and they can't detect any of these vibrations when the engine is running on the dyno. But when it gets put into the car, that is when they get excessive vibrations throughout the entire chassis. So it is an interesting problem that they've got. I'm sure some of you, if you've done sort of engineering, you'll be familiar with the concept of a resonant frequency, and I think that Aston Martin have by accident hit a resonant frequency with their engines and their chassis, and that's causing them quite a lot of problems. We'll see if we can. Well, we'll see if they can resolve that, and I'll explain a little bit about how that resonant frequency, how that sort of works, a little bit later on in the stream. Yeah, folks, we will have the 2026 data loading shortly. Right now, we have only got the 2025 data, given that, we've got Gasly driving. We haven't got any of the Audis on the racetrack. So, yes, the data will take probably another 10 minutes or so before we get that. But it's, yeah, we'll see how it comes along. Right. Add weight, yeah. I mean, you could add weight, but that's not exactly what you're going to be. It's not exactly um, going to be helpful into making a quick race car, right? Having extra weight on the car is not going to help. So it's going to be a difficult one for them to solve, but I'll sort of get into it a little bit later on once we've got a few more people listening in. How is Ferrari doing? Well, they haven't really hit the track, so it's about the same as what they were doing in preseason testing, which is looking pretty good. They were looking very solid indeed. The car was very drivable in the hands of Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, both drivers very comfortable in the car. So yeah, it's looking good. They were still having, there were a few issues here and there, especially with the battery deployment. The drivers sort of getting used to it. With the sort of the instant application of torque when you get onto the throttle, but yeah, they will, the teams will have learned from that. They will have figured out how to change sort of the ECU maps and things like that to make sure that the drivers can be a bit more confident with the car. Um, Another thing is that the race around here in Australia is going to be quite difficult for the battery. We haven't really got that many big braking zones here in Australia, which means that charging up the battery is probably going to require a lot of lifting and coasting. I'll take you through a flying lap shortly, but it seems to be that we've only got two, really major braking zones, and then and that's about it really. Like, you've got the one at turn number 3, and then you've got the one at turn number 11, and that's about it. The rest of them are very much tap the brake or hold on the brakes for about 50 meters, and then turn the car into the corner, and then get back right onto the power. So it's going to be a tough one for the battery. We'll see what the teams do, in terms of their battery management. Are they going to be doing loads of lifting and coasting? Are they going to be running the engine as a bit of a petrol generator for the battery? It'll be very, very interesting to see. Can I see the cars on Proton? Yes. The free practice 1 session will be broadcast on Service TV, so you guys will be able to watch that as soon as as soon as the broadcast starts, which I think it'll be starting in about. I think it's already started actually. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um, Loving it not being 1 a.m. here in New Zealand. Kudos to you people in Europe. Love the effort. Yeah. Straight line. Yeah, we'll have straight line modes as well. I'll sort of run through them, and the map will update as well. So we've currently got the DRS zones, I think, on the screen right now because it's the 2025 data. But then once we move over to the 2026 data, these will get slightly updated for the straight modes and for the corner modes and all of that sort of thing. Do all the teams make their own fuel? Yes, they will be. They'll be making their own fuels. It seems like everyone's got their fuel approved, despite all of the speculation in preseason testing that teams were going to have issues. But it seems like everyone's got their stuff approved, so everyone is sort of good to go in that regard. Yeah. Yeah, so it's the sustainable fuel and things like that. So some of them are biofuels, some of them are synthetic fuels, but yeah, the FIA have approved them, so it should be fine. Loving the new Viper profile, much more room. Yeah, I decided to make it like all of the borders grey rather than white. Someone pointed it out quite a while ago, to be fair, that if you do have an OLED screen, like if you're watching this on your TV, which apparently, according to YouTube, 20% of people are listening to this on their TV. It can sort of damage your screen if you have like the same bits of screen up on like maximum brightness all the time. So I've just decided to turn it grey, and it looks a little bit nicer as well, bit easier on the eyes. So yeah. Am I under the weather? Yes, a little bit under the weather, a little bit ill. So I think was it yesterday or maybe the day before? I sneezed about it must have been like 15 times in 20 minutes. I woke up one of my the people that I live with, one of my flatmates, just because of my sneezing. So yeah, not ideal. Yeah, we are back. We are back. Can Aston Martin use springs under the seats like a bus driver to stop the vibrations? Um, Unfortunately, not really. Um, they will have some sort of padding and things like that to help to prevent the vibrations going into the seat. But the chassis the steering wheel is connected directly to the chassis, and there are loads of vibrations in the chassis, which means that the steering wheel is the main source of vibrations and the main source of problems for the drivers. Um, so, unless they can add some sort of damping to the steering wheel, which they could, but then it would also reduce the feel that the drivers have of the car on the road. So when the drivers turn in, they can feel the rubber grip, they can feel the rubber slip a little bit on the surface of the track. And if you add some sort of damping in there to reduce the vibrations, you also reduce the feel the drivers have of the circuit itself, which obviously isn't ideal. So, yeah. All right. Soft Weekly, thanks for the $2 donation. I prefer my F1 with morning coffee. So yeah, well, thanks for the donation there, buddy. And it looks like we're back with the SOA yes in 2026. Pedal vibrations were also listed as an issue. Okay, well there you go. I'm sure it will. I'm sure there's issues all around. Really, their mirrors falling off, their lights falling off, and and the battery not being particularly happy with the vibrations. I'm sure many of you that ride motorcycles are aware of the fact that certain phone mounts, if you attach your phone onto the handlebars of a motorcycle and drive around for ages, it can actually mess up the camera on your phone because of all of the vibrations. It's not really expecting that, and yeah, you have problems with the camera, you have problems with the battery. There's loads of different things that can happen due to vibrations, and it's going to be an interesting one to see how they can fix that. Exoteric, thanks for the $20 donation, buddy. Starting off the streams, the season strong, but much appreciated. I keep hearing about strategies centered about overtaking during boost and overtake mode, but not about strategies for using overtake mode, not to overtake, but to access the monster regen. Um, well, I I see what you mean there. Um, they could do that. I mean, this is the interesting thing about the tweaks, right? The sort of the new regulations. There are loads of different loopholes or little things that you can explore, little sort of cheat codes, as you could put it, different ways to sort of exploit performance. So, no, that's definitely, I think, a possibility, right? So, if there's a driver, let's say about within a second of the driver behind, and they've got their overtake mode activated, then they could, rather than going to attack straight away, they could activate the overtake mode and then recharge the battery up to 100% and then go for the attack rather than immediately just go into attack. So, no, there's obviously loads of different opportunities, and that's going to be the big talking point. Like everyone's going to be watching the onboards, trying to like squint at the steering wheels to work out what the drivers are doing with their recharge, with their boost, with their overtake, and yeah, there'll be a clear best strategy that emerges probably in 2 or 3 races' time. But for the first 2 or 3 races, we ourselves will be trying to figure out what's going on, and so will the people on the racetrack. Okay, let's see if the data is going to come through now. Let's give it a quick refresh. Oh, no data just yet. We're stuck still with the Bahrain data. Okay, well, we'll get the Australia data coming through shortly. A little bit ill, a little bit ill. Hulkenberg hinted at Audi being much stronger than expected in an RTL interview. Yeah, let's. I mean, we'll see. We'll know. I'll be very glad to see Audi up at the top. That would be a very nice surprise, wouldn't it? Are you just sickly, or is it early, or are you being quiet? It's a combination of all of them, really. Yeah, trying to be quiet, not to wake up the people that I'm living with, and yeah. Aston Martini, shaken not stirred. Yeah, yeah, that's a that's a pretty good one actually. That's a pretty good one. All right. Will we see more sandbagging in free practice? Well, what I can tell you, last year's free practice, Lando Norris came P1, and Lando Norris also went on to win the title. So what I'm basically telling you is that whoever gets P1 in FP1 is going to win the championship. So yeah, nobody's going to be sandbagging. Everyone's going to be going full send. Um, no, what you'll really see is there'll be a lot less sandbagging, and we will start to see more representative race pace, because everyone will be on very similar race plans. So it's difficult to sandbag really when everyone's trying to work out the same thing. Whereas in preseason testing, all of the teams are trying to work out loads of different things. You know, someone's working on setup, someone's working on tire wear, someone's working on sort of, I don't know, like top straight line speed, right? And they're all trying to figure out different things. So you can't. There's like the comparison is very difficult to make. Whereas here in FP1 and FP2, we know what they're going to do. Right now, they're going to go out on the circuit. They're going to get a feel for the conditions. They're going to work out if their battery maps for when to deploy the power, when not to deploy the power, make sense. And then if they do make sense, then they're going to continue on and you know, let the drivers understand the circuit, let the circuit grip up a little bit. FP2, we're going to get the race runs. FP3, we're going to get the quali sims. So it's all very sort of very routine once we get in towards a race weekend. And we have just got the data loading through, so give me just a second here, folks, and let's switch over to the data here. Quali mode, there we go. Okay, and very nice, everyone fits on the screen just as expected. And let me also get rid of this little text here. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. And yeah, give me a sec here, folks. I just need to close a few tabs and things like that. Okay. Yes, let's talk about a little bit about the Williams team, right? Williams, they of course missed Barcelona testing. They made up for it a lot in Bahrain, right? They did loads of laps. I think they did the third most laps or something in Bahrain. Lots of laps under their belt, and they did a brilliant job sort of catching up. But according to Alex Albon, he has said in an interview directly that the Williams needs to lose a little bit of weight, needs to go on a diet, and yeah, so you know, as the rumours were in the start of preseason testing that that Williams were nearly 30 kilograms overweight or something like that. I'm sure those rumours had an element of truth to them. I think 30 maybe was a bit of an over exaggeration, but yes, even 10 kilograms of weight can gain you so much more lap time. If you, well, obviously lose the 10 kilograms. So, yep, Williams will not be where they are expecting to be, and maybe, you know, within 4 races' time, they can lose all of that weight, and then they'll progress themselves up through the field. But so will all of the other teams. It's quite likely that a lot of other teams also are running a little bit overweight, not got right down to the minimum weight just yet. So, a lot of teams will be looking to improve. Yes, that is approximately correct there. About a 3/10 of a second for every 10 kg. So 30 kilograms would be nearly a second slower per lap. But I think 30 kilograms must have, if it even was a true fact, a true number back when it came out in the sort of leaks and the stuff, that number will have gone way down. So not to sort of, you know, if you are a Williams fan, not to sort of worry too much there. Is the weight limit measured including the driver? No, it is not. The weight limit is totally separate, and then the driver plus their seat have a separate weight allocation. So that's how that goes. Seems like Donut's battery is legit. I did see this thing about Donut's battery. I mean, maybe it is. Like, I haven't looked into it too much, and I'm not an expert in battery science, so I'll let the experts decide that. Yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you all are watching. Hope you all are watching. Hope you're all enjoying the coverage. If you are, then be sure to hit the like button. As always, it tremendously helps out the channel, especially towards the start of the season when the algorithm hasn't been cooking for so long. So would be much appreciated. And yeah, we are now 11 minutes away from the start of not even testing, of FP1 here in Australia. So it's going to be track temperature of 32 degrees Celsius, air temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, no chance of rain, just a yellow flag deployed on the circuit near turn number 6, and back to green flags. Okay. Okay, we should be in for a good one. Thanks, Spacebug and L Tunes, for tuning in on Twitch. Yeah. What is my sub goal for this season? Ooh, I think 300 would be a nice target. If we could hit 300, but for the end of the season, that'd be pretty cool. I'm not, we did go from 50 to 100 and then 100 to 200, so I don't expect it's going to double again, from 200 to 400. I'd be very happy if it does, but I think 300 would be a nice number. Albon said that he thinks they'd be in last in the first race, where I see it'll be in between Cadillac and Aston Martin. Yeah, who knows? It'll be interesting. What changed with the track? Well, we've got more straight sections, right? This is the where the sections where the drivers can drop their front wing, drop their rear wing, get a little bit of extra speed down the straights. So we've got one. Down the main straight, we've got. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll take you through a flying lap of the circuit. Yeah, okay, so this is flying lap of the circuit. This is me drifting a little bit coming through the penultimate corner. But yes, you come out of the final corner, get onto the power as early as you possibly can, and then you come down the start finish straight. You've got the straight mode activated here, so a lot of extra top speed. Then going into turn number 1, onto the brakes as late as possible, and try not to touch the grass on the left hand side. It does lose you a lot of performance. Get very close to the wall on the right hand side, but of course don't crash into it like the Alpines did back a few years ago. Turn number 3, your first big braking zones here, great opportunity to recharge your battery. Then you go through turns number 4, a little lift there. Turn 5 the driver should be able to do flat. For turn number 6, look, you literally tap on the brakes and then flick the car to the right and hope it sticks. Especially right now, it's probably not going to stick. The driver's going to have to brake a lot more to slow the car down. But as the grip levels progress and as the circuit grips up a little bit, the drivers will be able to commit through there much, much more. You've got turns number 9 and 10, which are really, really fast corners, and you don't want to be cutting the corner like I just did there. This lap that I've driven was on the keyboard, so that's why it's a pretty terrible lap, to be honest. But yeah, you try to obviously stay within track limits and not go out onto the gravel trap. And the final sector's very nice, very tight and twisty, and yeah, you're just trying to make it through there without too much wheel spin, and that's a lap of Melbourne, right? Another thing that I would like to point out is that they have reduced the pit lane speed limit. So previously here in Melbourne, we had an 80 km/h speed limit. They've now reduced it down to 60 km/h because of the fact that we've got 22 cars on the grid rather than just 20. So due to the added congestion, I guess, I don't know exactly how much congestion there'd really be, but due to the added congestion, they have said that the pit lane speed limit has dropped down from 80 to 60, which now means that it takes an extra 4 seconds, I think, to do a pit stop. Sorry, not 4 seconds to do the pit stop itself, but 4 seconds to drive through the pit lane because you're driving through at a slower speed, which is the bigger issue. So the pit lane speed limit has dropped, and yeah. Good morning, F1 Gamer. How you doing? I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. Apparently the pit info was false. I heard it's false. Okay. I will double check that, and I will let you know again. Once we get closer to qualifying, when it's actually relevant. Well, actually, folks, we'll just be able to see. We've got a speed thing here, right? So once the drivers go out the pit lane, we'll be able to see if they're driving at 60. The pit lane and speed limit is 60. If they're driving at 80, the limit is 80. We'll find out soon enough. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why anyone would sort of spread misinformation about the pit lane speed limit. I don't know how that's going to really be affecting many things, but sure. All right, yeah, I just need to plug in my laptop, make sure it doesn't run out of charge. Um, Okie dokes. F2 had a 60 kilometer per hour pit sign. Okay. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I guess we'll see, won't we? Okay, 5 minutes now till we get underway. We got 2,000 people tuned in. Much appreciated, folks. And this is gonna be a good season, folks. This is gonna be mega. Will Cadillac even be race ready on Sunday? In 2010, Caterham didn't even show up. 310s have accepted then. I think Cadillac will be race ready. And of course, it's a little bit up in the air whether to how good they'll be. But by all sort of accounts, they have gone about their preseason testing very diligently. It's clear to see that they are down on downforce a little bit compared to all of the other teams. But what do you expect? These other teams have been at the pinnacle of motorsport, working on the most complex aerodynamics for maybe the past 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So Cadillac being a bit of a newcomer there, it is expected that they're down on downforce, but in all other regards, their car looks relatively solid. Pretty minor reliability issues over the course of preseason testing compared to some other people. So I think they'll be race ready. Yeah. However, you do have to consider that they are not sort of like a Haas copycat. Oh, I don't know why Albon says that he's going at 65 kilometers per hour when he's sat in the pits, but anyway. So when Haas joined Formula One, right back in, I think it was 2016, maybe 2016, 2015, they took so many parts from the Ferrari, and it was almost like they were half Ferrari, half Haas. And Cadillac has not done that. Cadillac has taken the Ferrari power unit, but that's about it. Everything else has been totally designed by themselves, which means that when Haas started out in Formula One, they got a fantastic performance in the first race. The first race they ever took part in. That is quite unlikely to happen for Cadillac. It's much more likely that they're going to be further down the field, but given that they've got Perez and Bottas driving for them, I think that they'll make some solid improvement, to be honest. Yeah. How to watch FP1, folks. If you would like to watch Formula One, the best way to do it would be using Proton VPN. There's a link in the description. You go join an Austrian VPN server. You go onto Google, you search Service TV F1, and you can watch the F1 coverage. The link is in the description on YouTube. So yeah, go ahead and check it out. Okay. What happened to Surfshark? Well, Proton VPN are sponsoring me this week, so or not this week, this season. So yeah, but you can also use your Surfshark one if you want. It's not it's not like you only have to use one of them. Also, folks, I'm just going to be turning up the volume on my microphone ever so slightly. It's not going to be a huge amount, but yeah, I'm just turning up a little bit because I have had a few odd complaints here and there that my microphone's a little bit too quiet. So, and I mean, to be fair, I'm talking quite quietly as well. So, yeah. Okie dokes. Yeah, we'll be getting the cars moving up towards the end of the pit lane. In fact, I think Hulkenberg has already made his way towards the end of the pit lane there. Okay. Alright, folks, not long now, not long till we are underway for some racing. Well, okay, maybe racing's a bit of an exaggeration, but we'll be back for preseason not preseason testing. It's FP1. FP1. I need to get this in my head. Okay. Alright, if I switch to an Austrian VPN, where can I watch stream? It's Service TV. Service TV. Okay. Is Apple covering practice? I think Apple will be covering practice as well. Yes. It'll be on Apple TV. You just have to go find it. Yeah. All right. We are so back, ladies and gentlemen. We are so back. Does Service TV have English coverage? Unfortunately, not. It is English. It is German, sorry. So if you don't understand German, then most people just mute the coverage, listen to me talk, but they can actually see what's going on the TV. Yeah. Okay. Well, here we go, folks. 50 seconds remain on the clock, and we'll be getting underway for FP1 very, very soon. It looks like I think Hulkenberg is lined up at the end of the pit lane already. So he might be the first car out of the track. Depends, obviously, how long does he need to rev up his turbo for? Has Ferrari still got the advantage on that side of things? Are they revving up their turbo the least and getting the most power? We shall wait and see. But there you go. Hamilton also crawling along there at a few kilometers per hour, and then we got Verstappen as well. So it looks like Hulkenberg, then Hamilton, then Verstappen. That's what the queue is so far. Okay, let's get rid of that countdown timer. I suspect we'll also be getting some team radios coming through very, very shortly. We've got a green light at the end of the pit lane. Nico Hulkenberg, the first car out onto the racetrack. That is great to see. And yes, right. Let's see if we get some team radios coming through, because it's normally takes a little while for this to come through, and typically it doesn't work at the first race of the season. So let's see. All right, medium tires, folks. Medium tires to start out the day for Hulkenberg, then Ocon, then Behrman, Hamilton, Antonelli, Verstappen, all making their way out onto the racetrack. Great to see. Okie dokes. Happy race week, yes. Happy race week to everyone else as well. Let's keep an eye out on the pit lane speed limit as well. Maybe we can figure out what it is. But yes, all the drivers going out doing their install laps. We'll see if Aston Martin come out. Of course, they've had their issues here and there. But yeah, they're out on the track. Brilliant. To be honest, there's not really much to sort of look into right now. Everyone's doing their install laps. They're going to come into the pits, but it's just great to see all the cars out on the track now. With the shiny Pirelli tires. We'll see if Ferrari have got their spinny rear wing or not. And yeah. How do I access Service TV? You Google it. And as long as you're connected to it, so those are the instructions. So if you just pause the live stream right now, the instructions stay up on the screen. Is that an issue for Antonelli, or is he managed to get moving again? Antonelli, he's still moving. Okay, no issues there for Antonelli. Just sat in the pit lane for an abnormally long period of time. F1 Gamer, can we get your best Aussie accent? Oh, I don't even know what to say. What do I say? Like, crikey, mate. No, I don't know. I mean, I think crikey is probably the most stereotypically Australian word, but yeah, I don't know. Crikey, mate, is that a spider? Yeah. All right, I'm not going to stop. I'm sure we've got a lot of Australians. Yeah, I'm going to stop because I'm sure we've got a lot of Australians listening, given that it is the Australian Grand Prix. All right. Yeah, so we've got Stroll out on the track as well. So it seems like the vibrations at least aren't too bad to do one lap for Lance Stroll. Perez, Alonso, and Bottas still in the pit lane right now. That's not a knife. Yeah. All right. What have we got a yellow flag for? Yellow flag going down the main straight. Okay. Interesting. Is that someone going slowly? This is Oscar Piastri over the team radio. I've got no power. Oscar Piastri's got no power, ladies and gentlemen. First issue of the day. I'm idling, but I've got no throttle. So Oscar Piastri is coasting back to the pit lane. VSC is deployed because he's got no power. And Mercedes power unit issue number 1. All right. Not ideal for his home race as well, you know. Isaac, what's it? Oscar Piastri. It's his home race here in Australia, and well, starting out in a bad way. Is that Arvin Lindblad? Arvin Lindblad has stopped at the end of the pit lane. So we have got 2 issues already. We are 4 minutes into FP1 and we have got no power for Oscar Piastri, and Arvin Lindblad has stopped at the end of the pit lane, and the VSC is deployed. Esteban Ocon fastest lap. I think the season's over. You might as well give Esteban Ocon the world title. Oscar Piastri has got power again. Okay, well, you know, that's the quickest time that we've gone from no power to power, and Piastri seems to be on the move again. He's still currently in first gear, but that's because he's going through the final sector, and his speed's around 100 km per hour. We'll see if he can accelerate up, but the VSC is ending. I still don't know if Lindblad is moving. It seems to be. Let's have a look. Where is Lindblad? He's 12th position. It says he's going at 5 km per hour. Maybe he's moving. Let's see. Track is clear. No, it says Lindblad's now going at 4 km per hour. I think he is still stopped. Charles Leclerc up into 6th position there. Yeah, we're going to have to get used to this, really, with a lot of issues and things like that. Perez out onto the track, so good to see him. Alright, so that is 1 issue for the Mercedes power unit team, 1 issue for the Red Bull power unit team so far. Alex Albon across the line up into 6th position. Oscar Piastri might need a power bank, yeah. New form of cheating, ladies and gentlemen. The drivers in their racing suit, they put a big power bank into their racing suit and then plug into the car. Kias, I'm not at the track yet, unfortunately. I'm actually so sad. Crying in front of my TV right now, planning to head for FP2. Well, I hope Oscar Piastri's issues get resolved in time for FP2. But yeah, seems like a nice day out in Melbourne. Good day to watch some Formula One. Alright, Piastri's continuing on, so clearly whatever issue it was, relatively temporary, and the team sort of have found a fix for that. And Lindblad has been pushed back to the pit lane, so the mechanics got sent out to the end of the pit lane, and they've pushed him back into the pits, so we'll see how long it takes for Lindblad to come back out onto the racetrack. Okay, and Gasly goes up into 9th position. Alright, Charles Leclerc up into P1. There we go, folks. Oscar Piastri P3. Max Verstappen purple sector 1. All of the drivers will be looking to improve the track. Not very clean whatsoever. You know, there were leaves flying about just moments ago, and not any rubbering in has occurred. So once all of that does occur, the lap times will start to tumble. But right now, we're up in the 131s. Any live stream broadcaster? Yeah, if you do want to watch the Formula 1 coverage, connect to an Austrian VPN and then go over to Service TV and you'll be able to watch it. And also, folks, Norris over the radio, the downshifts are shocking. All shifts. Okay, so Norris complaining about the downshifts. It looks like the team radios aren't going to be working today, so I'm going to increase the size of my webcam a little bit. Once the team radios come through, I'll be happy to pop them up on the screen. But it seems like right now, at least, no team radios coming through. Verstappen sector, purple sector 1, purple sector 2, purple sector 3, P1 by 3.5 seconds. Wait, how is it? What? Verstappen's 3.5 seconds clear. I mean, all of these drivers are just driving around slowly, like, oh, let's go very cautiously. And Verstappen's just been like, oh, maximum attack right from lap number 1, and it's a 122.9 from Max. Crazy, man, crazy from Max Verstappen. And Charles Leclerc is 1.2 seconds back, a 124.1. All right. Oh, Isaac Hadjar, it's P1 2 for the Red Bull team. Oh my god. Is there a rain forecast? Unfortunately not. It seems to be dry out in Melbourne as far as I've seen the weather to be. Alright. right, Sergio Perez up into 10th position. Nice job from him. Alonso and Bottas still yet to come out onto the circuit. Also, folks, I would like to confirm Valtteri Bottas' penalty has been cancelled. There were talks that Bottas was going to get a 5-place grid penalty here in Australia. That is being cancelled because the rules have changed, saying that your penalty can only be from within the last 12 months if it's going to apply during a race. So since Bottas' penalty is from 2024, it's not taking part. It's outside the regulations, and he will not be getting a 5-place penalty. Hamilton goes up into second position. He's got Flovis on the back of his car, near the rear wing, near the floor. I'm sure a lot of teams will have brought a lot of upgrades. If there's a little bit of the lull in the action, I will bring up the upgrades spec sheet and see what the teams have brought. But I have a feeling it's just going to be plastered all over the place. Everyone's going to have brought new everything. Yeah. All right. What was last year's pole time? I will just have a double check. I think it was in the 119s. I can't remember though. It was nearly a year ago, so unsurprisingly, really. Oh no, it was a 1 minute 15. 1 minute 15.096. Okay, shall pop that up on the screen because it's nice to know. But yeah, the cars are going to be quite a bit slower this year, as I'm sure you already know, given that they rely so heavily on the battery. Okay. So we've got might be Red Bull versus Ferrari this season. Who knows? But I'm also making this prediction off the first 10 minutes of FP1. So maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Okay. Go. All right. Alpines are back. Yeah, the Alpines Alpines are looking pretty good, to be honest. I think they are potentially one of the. They've made some really big leaps and strides. I think they might be ahead of Williams, to be honest. Antonelli goes up into first position with a great final sector. That's a 122.8 from him. Very nicely done. Is Ferrari running the exhaust plate? I will have to check the images. I mean, the cars have literally just come out on the track. They've all been hidden since then, so I have not been able to figure that one out just yet. It's a 122.322 for Charles Leclerc. He goes up into P1. However, I don't think Ferrari are running the flipping rear wing. I think they're just still running the normal rear wing. Yeah. I'm sad the radio feed isn't working. There's a lot of problems to read about. Yes, it would be quite interesting, like when Piastri said that he's got no power of the radio, then what does his team say over the radio to fix it? Do they say, "Oh, switch off the car and then do a restart, try and jump start it with the battery"? Like what do they say? Is Sky Tyler streaming? No, folks. Sky Tyler's not streaming. Proton VPN is the way to watch it. And the other thing is, folks, I've sort of worked this out with Proton VPN. For the first race of the season here in Australia, you can get Proton VPN for $1 for the first month. So that'll give you access to the Australian Grand Prix, the Chinese Grand Prix, and the Japanese Grand Prix, all for the price of $1. So if you folks are interested, the link is in the description. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it in the chat as well. But yes, it's we're going to have a lot of issues coming through, so I do hope the team radios come through, and we'll be able to sort of get some insight into what's going on. His battery in his pocket is unplugged. Yeah, that must be it. All right, Max goes up ahead of Leclerc by 17 milliseconds. The Cadillac's looking good on the racetrack right now. Their livery is quite interesting, actually. I wouldn't say it's the best livery out there, but it's definitely something new. I would have liked to see a bit of a splash of yellow, to be honest, though. I think it suits the Cadillac team. They've got some yellow in their other motorsport series as well. Yeah. Okay, folks. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to put a poll out option 1 or option 2, okay? And you guys can vote. So basically, option 1 is what the data that we have right now, okay? And option 2 is the data with all of the brakes, the speeds, the gears, the RPMs. So these are the two different options for data that we can have during practice sessions. So I will I'll put the poll out, and then you guys can sort of vote, and we'll sort of figure it out. But yeah, it's definitely good to see sort of this RPM information and things like that. And also, when someone comes into the pit lane, I will have to keep an eye out and check: are they going 60 kilometers per hour? Are they going 80? Because yeah, we do need to find out what the pit lane speed limit is. Yeah, okay. It seems like 75% of people think that option 1 is better, so I'll keep it like it is for now. If I can do some reshuffling and also add in the brake information and the RPM and things like that, I'll do so, but I can't make any promises, of course. Yeah, if I could fit in the sector times for the second option, that might work as well. But it's a bit of a stretch. It's a bit difficult to do with so much wanting to fit so much stuff on the screen. Ferrari will bring the flipping rear wing in Canada or Bahrain. Okay. Aston is also working on the flip wing, and the pit lane speed limit is also 80. Well, thanks for the information there. Much appreciated. So it seems like, yeah, it does seem like a good idea, because the whole idea is that you generate lift instead of downforce, and that reduces the weight that you've got on the car, and because you've got, the weight that you've got on the rear wheels, and then because you've got less weight on the rear wheels, you have got less rolling resistance, and less rolling resistance means more top speed. Fernando Alonso yet to come out onto the circuit, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I think this is a sign of things to come really for Aston Martin. 15 minutes into FP1, and Alonso still not out onto the track. In fact, Alonso is sat in the car. I think they're just strapping him in right now, and he's got to put on they've still got to put the wheels on, the tyres on, and all of that stuff before he gets out onto the racetrack. Is this a dream? Ferrari have made a good car before GTA 6. Well, we'll see. Still some time left to go till qualifying. Isaac Hadjar 121.888. Very nicely done. Okay. Oscar had a software issue. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, these cars are pretty complicated. I wouldn't be surprised if he did have a software issue, but Oscar having a software issue, Norris having problems with downshifts, and they're both in the garage, and not a lot of laps completed for the both of them. So, yeah, 3 laps completed for Piastri and 3 for Norris, whereas we've got Leclerc and Verstappen already up on 10. Okay. Yeah. All right. Ooh, Verstappen locking up a little bit, going into turn number 3. Not ideal there for front right locking up, but of course the drivers will get used to this sort of brake balance and things like that. And I also think that Aston Martin may have a little bit less reliability issues here compared to what they had in Bahrain, because this surface here in Melbourne is a lot smoother than the surface that they have in Bahrain. The racetrack in Bahrain is super rough, and hence causes a lot of sort of just vibrations just driving along at normal speed. And the surface here in Melbourne is a lot smoother compared to the one in Bahrain, so potentially that could help Aston Martin a little bit, but the issue that they have got seems to be a sort of a resonant frequency issue. So to imagine what a resonant frequency is, I'm sure all of you have sat on a swing at one point in your life, right? And you swing back and forth, and there's only there's a very small window of time when you can push off with your feet to continue swinging along. Like if you push off with your feet at the wrong time, then you're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to stop swinging. And a resonant frequency is basically the force of the engine, or the force of you pushing off with your feet, being perfectly in sync with the vibrations that are going on, or the oscillations that are going on. So when you're oscillating forwards and backwards on a swing, if you put the force in at the right time, you're going to carry on vibrating or oscillating at that speed, and bigger, you're going to go have bigger and bigger swings. And that's a very similar to thing that's what's going on with the Honda engine right now. Oh, we've just got the team radios. Brilliant. Okay. So that's what's going on with the Honda engine right now. And so that's sort of the problem that they've got, where the force that the force that they have from the engine coming out is causing the vibrations to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And they've got to figure out a way to sort of prevent those vibrations from happening. I suspect what they're going to have to do is change the engine mounting. So maybe mount the engine in a different way, in a different location, and that could help things. But it's a tricky thing to even simulate. It's very, very complicated, especially with all the carbon fiber that they've got in the chassis, to simulate how these forces get transmitted. So they've got a big headache to solve, to be honest. Okay. I will adjust a few of these things here, and yeah. Okay. Pit lane speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks for the info, folks. Most likely Honda's looking at dampers for a quick fix. Yeah, exactly. Like you can look at dampers as a quick fix, but it's going to obviously add weight, which is obviously not what it's not ideally what you want. So that's sort of yeah, that's sort of how it goes. How can I watch F1 for cheap? Is it the pin linked? Yes, it is. You get the pin linked. You connect to an Austrian VPN server, and then you go onto Servers TV and you watch the coverage. In fact, that is exactly how I'm watching it here. So there you go. Okie dokes. We got Bortoletto up into 7th. Not bad, not bad. And Lewis Hamilton there up in a 121.9. Pretty good. Folks, the Q1 exit. So we are going to have 6 drivers exiting in Q1, 6 drivers exiting in Q2, and then we will have again just the top 10 in Q3. So that's how it's going to work in qualifying. Why do the ad breaks happen at the worst time on Sky? Well, that's why you don't get Sky. That's why you watch F1 Gamer. No adverts whatsoever. So yeah. Unless maybe you're on Twitch. In that case, maybe there's adverts. I'm not 100% sure with how Twitch works. But yes, no adverts on YouTube at least. Okay. So we've got Hadjar going purple in the middle sector. A lot of people improving really, and Hadjar goes up into first position. Oh, look at this! They're asking Oscar to go into Strat 8. So I think what they're doing now is going through all of the different modes for the engine, checking that everything is as expected, because they'll have different things set up for each strategy, or like different strat mode, and they want to see, are the temperatures what we're expecting? Are the oil pressures what we're expecting? Are all of X, Y, Z what they're expecting? So they're going through the engine modes and things like that. Yeah. Okay. We got Hulkenberg up into 11th. Nice job there. I think Audis are looking good. I think Audi is going to be the better team compared to Cadillac, but that's also fair enough given that Audi have sort of taken over from Sauber, whereas Cadillac is starting very much afresh. If I get what happened to the number of laps with the tires, I will get the number of laps back onto the screen. It's a bit of an adjustment game. I might have to lose the speeds that we've got right now. So we've got the speeds of what speeds the cars are doing. We can see in fact down the straight what speeds the drivers are hitting as well. You can see Science has just gone 287 through the speed trap there. But I will pop the number of laps completed for the tires onto the screen as well. Lewis Hamilton is learning from a new engineer. Yeah. Oh, Lewis Hamilton 309 through the speed trap actually. So quite quick there for the Ferrari car. And Ford versus Ferrari. Yeah, it could be. It could be. Max goes up into first there, and I've got to tell you, this FP1 session is way more exciting than the FP1 session we had last year. Last year it was all, oh, we're all going to drive really slowly, or we're not going to do anything exciting. But now, we've started to hit the ground running, and lap times are tumbling, so it's great to see. Do they do quali laps during FP1? Potentially, potentially. I mean, it's the quali laps that they do during FP1 aren't going to be all that relevant right now. They're trying to work out some tweaks in their setup, so the drivers will be complaining a little bit about understeer or oversteer or whatever it is, and that will be their main course of action to get those things resolved. In time for FP2, which is when they'll do their race runs. Yeah. After I get the VPN, how do I watch? Practice? It's this. You join an Austrian VPN, and yeah, you just follow those instructions. Basically, we've got around, I don't know, upwards of now probably 700 people that have been using these methods, so it should be relatively straightforward to figure out. Yeah. Oh, Esteban Ocon, I see you are lifting and coasting a bit more than you need. Are you following the light still? No, I'm actually not lifting and coasting at all. Okay, so I don't know what Ocon's saying there, but it seems like Haas have said, are you following the light? Which I think what that means is on the steering wheel, they've got a light set up saying, if this light goes blue, then you need to start lifting and coasting. That's quite an interesting way of doing it, because that way you don't have to rely on the driver working out the most optimal lift and coast strategy. The teams can pre-calculate it with the engineers and then just set it up to be on the steering wheel. So maybe that's how it's going to work. But loads of interesting stuff coming here over the team radios. McLaren's were flying laps, yes, but they're doing quite slow flying laps, really. Maybe because they're slow, but maybe because they've had their issues starting out the session. So they're probably going to be like, right, we'll figure out these issues a little bit later on. Let's run it in a safe engine mode for now. Lando Norris said he's confident that McLaren can defend their world title. I guess we'll see if that's the case or not. Yeah. Okay. Do you reckon Aston Martin is sandbagging? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I mean, Alonso still hasn't come out to the circuit. Piastri goes up into fifth position, so maybe they weren't running so slowly after all. They're still 1.1 seconds off the pace, to be fair. Oh god, I'm really ill. Are you going to watch the Supercars race in your own time? Even Verstappen said it's a good series to watch. Well, I don't actually know when it's on. So maybe I'll watch the Supercars race, but it really just depends on my schedule. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, so we've had about the first half an hour of running or so, folks. First half an hour of running. And we've got Charles Leclerc P1. Easy world championship for Charles Leclerc. Also, we've got 6,000 people tuned in. Much appreciated, folks. Hope you're all enjoying the coverage. And welcome back after the very long off season, 100 days of no Formula One. So yeah, I hope you're having a good time. Hope you had a nice winter break as well. Had a lot of stuff to do over the weekend and been keeping up with random things. But yeah, it's good to be back. Okay. What's Lewis said over the radio? I just got blocked by Charles. No way, Charles. I've just started laughing. It's over. Wait, no way. What? What's he saying? It's over. What's going on? Charles, I've just started laughing. It's over. Are they talking to each other? How's Lewis Hamilton's radio um, saying I've just started laughing? Interesting, man. Interesting. Okay. Ferrari is so back. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the meme is back. I've accidentally gotten rid of it off my stream, so I'm gonna give me a sec. I'll find wherever I've saved it, and get it back up onto the screen. But who is Lewis's new race engineer? Oh, I forgot his name. Someone asked me this during preseason testing. Um, I'm sure someone in chat will know who it is. But I've unfortunately forgot his name. Yeah, do apologize. But yeah, it takes a little bit of time to sort of build up this relationship with your engineer, right? It's not going to be okay. Let me. I was not intending on it in this showing up that big. Um, yeah, so it takes a little bit of time to build up that relationship with your race engineer, right? But the drivers will have been spending a reasonable amount of time with their race engineer on in the off season to sort of build up that relationship. And I think that Hamilton will sort of get with it. I think Hamilton's a very reasonable person. I think his previous race engineer was more so the problem than Lewis Hamilton, so I think it'll be fine. Okay. Oh, it's interesting. Hadjar's been told reminder to keep the RPM high. Bortoletto's trivial. Make a quick connector. Well, I don't know exactly what that means, but remember to keep high RPM. So that's definitely interesting for sure. Okay. Oh, brilliant! My YouTube chat has just crashed because we've got too many people in the chat. Brilliant. Well, it's a good problem to have. The gaps are so close. Well, yeah, it's relatively close, of course. Up at the top, at least in the top four, and we'll see what the Mercedes and the Astons and the well, not the Astons, the Mercedes and the McLarens and the Hasses can do. The Haas look pretty strong, to be honest. Yeah. We have got George Russell running on soft tires here, which is good to see. So let's see how George does. Does Mister Must Be the Water still have a job? I think he maybe still does. I'm not sure. Russell goes up into fifth position. Not bad, not bad. Fresh set of soft tires for him. How do we feel about the newcomers, Audi and Cadillac? I think Audi are pretty strong. Cadillac, they'll be quicker than the Aston Martins, but that's not really an achievement. But I think they'll make some steady progress with Bottas and Perez as their key drivers. So, my predictions for the Australian Grand Prix. Well, with the way things are going, I might just predict a great battle between Leclerc and Verstappen for P1. That's my prediction. I mean, that's sort of what I want to see happen. I would love to see a battle between Leclerc and Verstappen, like we had in 2022. That incredible battles that we had at the first few races in 2022, and it'd be great to have that back again. Do Isaac, Hadjar, and Max have the exact same car? Yes, they do. They do. At least to start out the season, they do. We will see, of course, if Max is in a championship fight, then Max will get priority over upgrades and things like that. But as of right now, it's way, way too early to tell. Merc is still sandbagging. Yeah, most likely. Most likely. We'll see what Colapinto can do on softs. He's out on soft tyres. Dark horse of the season. It's gonna be Haas is my dark horse of the season. I think Haas are gonna be right up there. the columns between second sector and between the third sector and speed. This essentially splits up each of the racetrack into even smaller sectors. So these, you've just got your three main sectors here, but this is in sector one. You get split into even further smaller mini sectors, and it gives you a bit more of insight into where the drivers are going quickly. So you can see here Norris was green in the first little bit, so he was green down the straight, but then he went yellow through the corner and then got a really good exit. So he sort of did a slow in, fast out, and you can sort of tell that from the data over here. But yeah, that's that. Mainly the big thing that we're sort of looking for if someone's just going purple the entire lap. That's definitely something to watch out for. Okay. Well, yeah, Alonso still not out onto the racetrack, and Lance Stroll's best lap was 30 seconds off the pace. 30 seconds with 3-0, not 1-3, 3-0. Mental. Absolutely mental. I mean, at that point, I think you leave the Formula One before the Formula One leaves you. Um, yeah, because what is going on there? What is going on? Absolutely cooked. Yeah. All right. How's it going, folks? Hope you're all enjoying. Yeah, about half the cars out on the track right now. This is Newey Heritage. Yeah, I don't know what Adrian Newey has done. Up to 15th position there for Arvin Lindblad. I thought I can sort of tell you what I think Adrian Newey has done. Has Perez lost his mirror? Okay, well there you go. Oh yeah, I can see it as well. Yeah, Perez has lost his mirror, so looks like Aston Martin aren't the only ones struggling with vibrations. But it was Bottas that actually lost his mirror in preseason testing, if I remember correctly. I think it was the first day or the second day of preseason testing, and Bottas lost his mirror, and there was a red flag for it. So yeah, unsurprising really, that they're struggling with these sort of problems. But yeah, I mean the vibrations it also will cause a lot of reliability issues as well. And to be honest, looking at the Ferrari powered cars, it is Cadillac has got the most issues out of them. Ferrari relatively clean from them, and the same thing from Haas as well. Yeah, very very shaky mirrors to be honest. George Russell up into fourth position on a question mark tire. I mean, this is Formula One heritage, really. I mean, this is the F1 gamer heritage with the with the question mark tires. Can't get any better than that. I mean, I suspect they're softs, but yeah. Okay. The blue lines mean the drivers are going in or out the pits, so you can see anyone that's in the pits. They've got blue lines in the third sector. Is GP still Verstappen's engineer? I think he is. Yes, I think he still is. However, I think it's quite likely that during a few races he won't be, and someone else will sit in his place. Yeah. We have no idea if Stroll or Alonso will be coming out. To be honest, but with the way things are going, it seems unlikely. To be honest. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it might be quicker for Alonso just to run around the racetrack than to drive the Aston Martin, to be honest. Yeah. Wait, what's this? That was over the team radio. They're just a huge team radio message. Hadjar 36, Hadjar 35. What, are they just counting down how far Hadjar is behind him? Like, what's going on there? Um, anyway. Antonelli goes third fastest in Sector 1. Looks like George Russell's doing some pit stop practice. Max Verstappen's on Strat 5. I think, well, it's a bit difficult to remember now, but I think Strat 7 is the attack mode on the Honda power unit, but it's not Honda anymore, actually. Never mind. It's now Ford, so they will have changed all of their Strat modes, which makes it a little bit difficult now to work out who's attacking, who's not. But yes, at least that's what it was back in the day. Well, not back in the day when they had the Honda power unit. It was Strat 7 for attack. Yeah. Replace the speed with a lap count. Yes, I will. I'll do it once FP1's over. There's 20 minutes left, right? 20 minutes left. I'll get it replaced in time for the end of the session, folks. Okay. Who's Lynn? Lynn is Arvin Lindblad. He's a rookie driver. He's the only rookie, in fact, this season. He moved up from Formula 2. Didn't have the best Formula 2 season, but showed sort of promise in especially in some wet conditions as well. Pulled off some brave overtakes. So Red Bull have promoted him up. SM Maroof, thanks for the €6 donation. I think Honda's paying the price for leaving the powertrains department in 2021. Lack of customer teams. Yeah, well, see, this is the thing. Honda left Formula One, and then all of the Honda engineers just got hired at the Red Bull team, or all of the really good Honda engineers got hired at the Red Bull team, and then the Honda engine department that was left weren't really the best. They didn't have that much experience, and then they've been tasked with building a Formula One engine. So you can sort of see the result of that. And I think that's also been sort of that has been worsened by the fact that Adrian Newey will have wanted a very, very small engine and a very small gearbox and a very compact thing so he can design his aerodynamics however he sees fit. So I think that's one reason as well why Aston Martin moved away from the Mercedes power unit, because Mercedes will have went with some maybe a large sort of engine design to make sure that reliability is good and so on and so forth. But Adrian Newey wouldn't have wanted that. He wants the it wants the perfect aerodynamics and will compromise the engine a little bit for it. And clearly they've compromised the engine a little bit too much. Yeah. Can't get service to work. I mean, I think if you check that you're actually connected to an Austrian VPN, then it should just pop up and work. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't connect properly, and you have to like restart your computer or whatever. So yeah, Max Verstappen up into P1, and he goes about 10th clear of Charles Leclerc. Okay, who do you think is going to be Rookie of the Year? Well, given that we've got Fernando Alonso as rookie and we've got Arvin Lindblad as rookie, I think it's going to be Arvin Lindblad, to be honest. Yeah. 5 seconds behind last year's pole. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. They've got a lot of battery recharging to do. But also it is FP1, right? So we're going to see lap times dip after FP1 as well. And I suspect we'll maybe get, I don't know, it's tough to say, but potentially down into the 1 minute 18s, maybe 1:17s as well. Too many grey, white, greyish teams. Yeah, it's a little bit tough to distinguish. I think I might make the Audis a little bit darker, because I think the Audis and the Hasses are a little bit too similar, and then I'll make the Racing Bulls like completely white rather than a little bit greyish what they are right now. Yeah. Oh, Lewis Hamilton kicking up a lot of dust there on his previous lap, and it puts him into a 121.1. He's about 3 tenths back from Charles Leclerc, and the same thing can be said about Isaac Hadjar compared to Max Verstappen. How many laps has Alonso run? Alonso has done 0. He is yet to come out the pit lane. Yeah, yet to come out the pit lane. Any reaction to Max changing to 3 from 33? No, I mean, he can pick whatever number he wants. I don't think it's that big of a deal. He talked to Daniel Ricciardo, who previously had the number 3, and Daniel Ricciardo was happy for him to have it. So yeah, yeah, I will probably lose the speeds. I don't think it's the most relevant thing in the world, given that we have got the speed traps there. We can see the Ferraris are quickest in the speed traps. I think having the speeds there is a little bit sort of doubly unnecessary. Oh, that's yeah. Someone was doing quite a bit of lawn mowing there. In that Red Bull. Yeah, we've got quite a few drivers doing some lawn mowing here around Melbourne. Not so happy with the way that the grass has been cut. So they're taking matters into their own hands, kicking up some gravel, doing some lawn mowing. Yeah. All right, 15 minutes remain on the clock, ladies and gentlemen, and yeah, things look pretty standard, to be honest. Pretty standard. We've got Max Verstappen up in P1, Charles Leclerc P2, and the Mercs in 5th and 6th position. A fairly ominous 5th and 6th position. I think they've still got a little bit more sandbagging that they're doing there, and maybe they'll be better over a race run. It's tough to say. With the power unit playing such a big factor, if you are even ever so slightly down on horsepower, then you struggle and you have to compensate more and more with the battery, and it's sort of this sort of downward repeating spiral, which is why Honda is suffering so much, and it basically amplifies any small advantage that you've got in the power unit. So it could be that Mercedes have got the best power unit, with their potentially 18-to-1 compression ratio tricks. We'll have to wait and see. It is 2 hours until FP2. I will pop a timer up on the screen shortly. But yes, it is approximately 2 hours and 15 minutes till the start of FP2. Bortoleto up into 7th position. Not bad from Gabriel Bortoleto, on a fresh set of soft tyres as well. Ferrari's using the normal normal wing, folks, normal wing. I think it will be optimal in certain racetracks, and at other racetracks it won't be. They also run the risk, right? So the rules dictate that your DRS mechanism or your active aero mechanism must complete within 0.4 seconds. If it completes in longer than 0.4 seconds, it is against the rules and you will get disqualified, right, for breaking the rules. And well, I don't know if they've tested the reliability of that thing, right? Because you have to understand, when these cars are going at upwards of 300 kilometers per hour, they have got huge forces on them, upwards of 2 tons just on the rear wing itself, right? So creating an actuation system that can rotate the rear wing within 0.4 seconds when it's got that much force on it, and also doing it reliably, is something that's quite difficult. And also the problem that you have is that whatever system you design is going to be quite heavy. So the weight that you have from your rotating DRS system, rotating rear wing system, is going to be very high up on the car, and it's going to increase your center of gravity, and make the handling of the car worse, make it worse through the corners. So maybe at a circuit like Monza, it'll be perfect to use, a circuit like Canada, a circuit like Spa, but where a circuit like Australia, where you've still got quite a few corners that you've got to take, and it's not all about the straight line speed, it might be a little bit more optimal to just have your normal rear wing. Yeah. Okay. Lando already out. Yeah, I mean, some sort of gearbox issues for Lando. He didn't do a huge amount of laps. He's only done 7 laps in total, whereas we've got 24 laps completed for Leclerc and 23 laps for Hamilton. And Hamilton's just about to come across the line to complete his 24th lap, and there he does, first position, P1 for Lewis Hamilton, and yeah, so 24 laps completed for both Ferrari drivers. That's the most out of anyone so far. And Albon's also done 24, actually. But yeah, so only 7 for Lando Norris, which suspects most likely it's going to be some gearbox issues for him. Max and Hadjar have done 19 and 17 laps respectively. Okay. Yeah, 11 minutes remain, folks. 11 minutes remain. Two purple sectors as well for Lewis Hamilton. Pretty good going from the British driver, if I don't say so myself. All right. Nice slipstream for Hamilton. Yeah, I mean this is the thing, right? You each driver will get their slipstreams on certain laps. Um, I don't think it's too big of an issue to look into. VSC is deployed, folks. VSC is deployed because Albon has stopped at the side of the circuit. I've lost power steering and everything. Yes, we think hydraulic pressure, and Albon has lost hydraulic pressure, ladies and gentlemen, and he has stopped the car just as you can see there. Oh, just underneath me there. On the exit of turn number 10. So loss of hydraulic pressure for Alex Albon as he was making his way through the middle sector. Yeah, and it's got the track map has got a different colour because the VSC is out. And yeah, he had that going through the middle sector. He coasted his way down towards one of the marshal posts. But yeah, that is quite likely going to delay the end of FP1 and, well, delay the restart of it. The VSC is still out, but I think they'll be able to get Albon's car pushed off into the side relatively quickly. Keep thinking the Cadillac is a safety car. Oh yeah, I guess that's a little confusing, but normally the safety car does say SC, so yeah, the marshals are now pushing the Williams. It's still got a little bit of, they got to push it forwards a little bit and then reverse it into the marshal area. So yeah, VSC is out. They're doing a pit stop practice there down at Ferrari as as Leclerc comes back out onto the circuit. There's a VSC because Albon stopped at the side of the racetrack. Do you think Hadjar will do good in the race? Yeah, I think Hadjar will be all right. The thing is, right, at the start of the season, the car is not going to be that pointy, especially the car at the start of a new regulation set. It's not going to be particularly pointy. It's not going to be that difficult to drive. If the question is, by the end of the season, will Hadjar be able to keep up with Verstappen? Because I think at the start, Hadjar will be, within 2/10, within 3/10. But what will happen at the end, that'll be the interesting one, really. Yeah. Also, folks, if you are enjoying the coverage, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. I've also dropped a link to the FP2 stream in the chat, so I will be streaming for FP2, so be sure to obviously tune into that one as well. It will be, FP2 will be race runs, and we'll get a little bit of quali sims right at the end as well. And seems like, yeah, the Audi car will be coming out soon. Okay. But yes, Albon stopped at the side of the circuit. Aston have a Henry vacuum under the car. Yeah, I don't know what's going on at Aston Martin, but nothing good can be going on down there. We'll see how long it takes them to figure these things out. Where are we on the Ferrari wheel right now? Well, we're on the we are so back phase. Yeah, that's where we are at. Okay. Yeah. Bottas lost a mirror. Yeah, I mean it seems like quite a few drivers losing mirrors. Perez lost one, and Bottas has apparently lost one as well. So, yeah, they have to figure out some better mounting mechanisms for these mirrors to make sure that they don't come flying off during the race. Because it's not ideal, really. Like, it's not like the drivers can just turn their head and see what's behind them. They totally rely on their mirrors to work out who's where. So what they will maybe what they'll have to do is rely on, depending on how in real time the footage is at the racetrack, they might have to rely on their race engineer to sort of say, oh, the driver's behind you, he's pulled onto the inside, he's pulled to the outside. But no, it's definitely a tough one. Charles Leclerc, of course, had that in was it Suzuka 2019? He had a mirror that had just come off, and he was just holding on to it through 130R, and then he'd let go of it and threw it away at some point. Definitely Nico Rosberg's threw away a mirror in 2016 during, I think it was Singapore. But yeah, it's obviously not ideal for the drivers. They have very limited visibility behind them, especially if they're going wheel to wheel with someone. They have no way of knowing in which side they're at. So rear view mirror on the Halo. I mean, I think you need to just check how physics works, but I don't think that they're going to get very good visibility out of there, given the fact that the rear wing's in the way. But yeah. All right. Audi best of the rest in the midfield? Maybe. I mean, it's difficult to say. We don't know if Haas are doing their quick runs right now, if they're saving them for later. We also don't know what Audi are doing. So, Alpine are doing. So it could be. I think it's between those three, though. I think Audi, Haas, and Alpine. Williams, once they lose a little bit of weight, I think could be very much in contention. But as of right now, I think they're a little bit further away. Oh, we got a spin here for Sergio Perez on the replay. Managed to keep the car going, but yes, a spin. The rear of the car just slides out as he gets onto the power on the exit of turn number 4. I'm having a lot of engine braking. I had a massive one there. Okay, so maybe that was Okay, so this is interesting, right? So the way that the cars recharge their battery is effectively through engine braking a little bit, right? So the drivers lift off the throttle and the recharge mode activates, and they try to recharge the battery as much as possible. But there are certain corners, and turn 4 being one of them, especially here in Australia, where the drivers, the quickest way to take that corner is to not touch the brakes and just to lift off the throttle to about 10% throttle application and then make your way through that corner. But the battery system, or the energy system of the car, thinks, oh, the driver's lifted off 10% of the throttle. They're about to lift off entirely. So let's just start recharging the battery. Let's start activating this engine braking. And it's sort of a mismatch between what the computer thinks is going on and what the driver actually wants the car to do, and you sort of get these issues happening. We saw it with Charles and Hamilton on the exit of quite a few corners in Bahrain during preseason testing. They would try to get onto the power, but they tried to smoothly get onto the power, but the electric motor, the torque would just come through instantly, and they would start snapping. The car would start snapping. So these things will get worked out, obviously, but it's going to take some time. Does Aston have 2 cars? Yes, they do have 2 cars, but they've not sent out either of their drivers. Well, they sent out Stroll, sorry, to do 3 laps, but Alonso's done none. Yeah, you can see there at the bottom left, there's the amount of time left. There's only 3 minutes left of the session. F1 engine theory course required to follow the sport. Yeah, I mean like obviously I'm gonna do my best, right? Because I do a mechanical engineering degree, so I understand a fair amount about engines and things like that. So I'll do my best to sort of keep you guys up to date with it and explain it as easily as I can. But yes, it is getting a little bit unnecessarily complicated, I think. All right. Yeah. So Perez still in the pits, so's Norris, Stroll and Alonso. So Norris has got some relatively major gearbox issues. He hasn't come out for, I don't know, upwards of 40 minutes now. So yeah, McLaren having some problems there. Piastri also not having the greatest lap, to be honest. Lindblad goes purple in the middle sector. We'll see what he can do. Is that due to a toe, or was that just due to a very good, a lot of commitment through turns number 9 and 10? We'll wait and see. Please work for Honda and save us. Well, it'd be great if Honda could give me a phone call. Yeah. All right, Arvin Lindblad across the line, 5th position for him, not too shabby for the rookie. Yeah. Okay. Charles Leclerc purple in sector 1. So, folks, just to remind you, whoever was P1 at the end of FP1 last year, they won the world title. It was Lando Norris. He was P1 at the end of FP1 in Australia, and he went on to win the title. So, in theory, that means whoever is P1 at the end of FP1 today is going to go on to win the title. There's 52 seconds remain. We've got Charles Leclerc cooking. We've got Oscar Piastri also cooking, and I think a few more drivers potentially coming out to do some flying laps. So let's see. We've got Piastri here making his way through turns 10, and Charles Leclerc coming out the final corner now. So it's green in sector 1, green in sector 2, foot flat to the floor, accelerating up to 307 kilometers per hour as he crosses the line. P1 for Charles Leclerc, half a second clear of Lewis Hamilton. Wow, very nice indeed. Let's see what Oscar Piastri can do. Purple in sector 1, slower in sector 2 by quite a bit compared to the Ferraris. In fact, a huge margin compared to the Ferraris in the middle sector. He has just gone 7-8 tenths lower in the middle sector than the Ferraris. I don't know how Piastri's done that. It must be that he's not deploying the battery in the middle sector, because otherwise that makes no sense. That he's gone 8 tenths lower in the middle sector, unless he made a mistake or something. But yeah, interesting. So the timer has hit 0. We'll see if anyone's putting through any more flying laps. But Charles Leclerc, currently P1. Yeah. Let's see what George Russell's going to do. He comes across the line. Is he going to start a flying lap? He can't start a flying lap because the checkered flag is out, so he can't go full attack right now. It is a Ferrari 1-2. I mean, I think it's perfect time for... Oh, wait, no, this is the wrong button. It's perfect time for this. Where can I watch it live? Proton VPN, folks. There's a link in the description. It's for $1 a month, actually, not for $3. $1 a month. And you get $1 for the first month, and then you can watch the Australian Grand Prix, the Chinese Grand Prix, and the Japanese Grand Prix, all included. So, yeah, folks, that is the end of FP1. It's the year of the horse. The Ferrari fans are back. The delusion is at an all-time high. Charles Leclerc 1, Lewis Hamilton 2, Verstappen 3, Hadjar 4, Lindblad 5, Piastri 6, Russell 7th, Antonelli 8th, Bortoletto 9th, Hulkenberg 10th. That is the top 10. Alright, it seems like everyone's just going to be making their way back into the pit lane soon enough, and that'll be that, really. Yeah, I think Bortoletto and... what are they up to there? Or maybe they're doing some practice starts. Let's keep an eye out on this. I'll double check for the practice starts and things like that if anyone's doing any of those, and then I'll end the stream and I'll be live for FP2. Yeah, I'm probably gonna try and see if I can get a nap in, but I will. Don't worry, I'm gonna set 2 alarms, maybe even 3, just to make sure that I wake up in time for FP2. But yeah, I might try and get some sleep, given that it's now 2:30 for 2:30 a.m. in the UK. Yeah, it looks like they are doing some practice starts. Okay, I'm going to turn off the get rid of the meme here so we can look at some more information about what the teams are doing. And in fact, what I'm going to just do now is quickly switch it over to testing mode, and we can actually look at what RPMs they're doing and things like that. So you can see now the teams building up to potentially we got Verstappen here on the starting grid, right? So Verstappen's at 4,000 RPM, and he's in first gear, 0 kilometers per hour. And then how long is he going to spend building up the revs there on the starting grid before he goes? So he's building it up 10,000, 12,000, holding about 10% throttle, and then he drops the clutch and then goes away. So it's relatively interesting. I'm sure that there'll be people analysing the 0 to 200 kilometers per hour speeds, right, for Charles Leclerc, for Lewis Hamilton. How quickly are they accelerating away from the line compared to everyone else? How are the Ferrari powered cars doing compared to the Mercs, who are compared to the Ford power units? But yes, it's practice starts right now, and Lando Norris has got issues with his car. What time is FP2? I mean, if you click the link in the chat right now, you'll be able to see what time it is. But it is in. I'll be live for FP2 in 2 hours' time. So, yeah. Ford power unit. Well, it's the Honda power. It's the Red Bull power unit. They are made by Ford powertrains, or it's Ford Red Bull powertrains, or something like that. But yeah, everyone's now just going to be making their way back into the pit lane. So that is that pretty much, folks. Everyone's done the practice starts with the exception of Charles Leclerc, and will be now making their way back to the pits. And yeah, Leclerc's got moving as well. So there we go. Okay, dokes. So it's been great commentating to you guys. It's been the first of many streams. It's going to be, I think I did the maths. It's going to be 120 streams for the season. So I look forward to doing all of them. And yeah, hopefully I see you all for FP2 in about 2 hours' time, and then. Of course, we'll have FP3 and quali in the race in the next few days. So it's going to be great to see. And it looks like we've got Ford versus Ferrari. That is going to be our storyline for this season. Yeah, looks great. So thanks everyone for tuning in. It's going to send you over to the FP2 stream if you just hit the like button and the reminder button on the FP2 stream, even though obviously you're going to tune in. But if you press the like button and reminder button, the YouTube algorithm loves it. So really does help out the channel. So I will... yeah, see you all in 2 hours' time after I've had a little nap. Yeah, but it's P1 for Charles Leclerc, P2 for Lewis Hamilton, Ferrari 1-2. Okie dokes, folks. See you in 2 hours. Bye bye.